surveys a couple months ago to all of the counties to see if there is anything you wanted us to come talk to you about. ISAC provides a lot of services. We have a group health plan that some of the counties can join. I run the HIPAA program. Tammy runs, this is Tammy Norman with me, she runs ProLaw, which is election software. And you marked that you wanted to hear a little bit more about the ISAC HIPAA program and ProLaw. I want to start out by just kind of asking, do you have any questions about HIPAA in general? Do you want me to give like a little spiel about HIPAA in counties, or do you want me to just talk about the HIPAA program?
We've covered a lot of HIPAA stuff recently, so if you just want to jump into it maybe.
Okay. ISAC offers a HIPAA program that counties or mental health regions can join for a small fee. So a new county is $19.50 to join, and with that it comes with a yearly HIPAA 101 webinar. Some of the counties use that to help with their yearly training. I still recommend that counties should do a little bit of their own training, just kind of address some of their individual policies. But we do have that 101 training every year. We also have a webinar series. It's between 5 to 12 webinars. It kind of depends if there are any hot topics or if the counties request a specific webinar. Some of the webinars that we've had in the past are specifically about cybersecurity, compliance committees and hybrid entities, vendor privacy, HIPAA training for non-clinical employees, because I think a lot of county employees, they don't work directly with clients or anything like that. So that was specifically for non-clinical employees. We had one on audit controls, and then we also had a 3-part webinar last year about conducting a risk analysis. So HIPAA requires that all covered entities conduct a risk analysis. A lot of people do it yearly, but that's not necessarily required. But we had I think it was, each webinar was an hour and a half, so it was really detailed. It came with a toolkit, so it was a really big Excel sheet, but it walked you through how to conduct your own risk analysis. I think that was really helpful. That was something that a lot of the members had been asking for. All of our webinars are recorded, so they're on the member website. It's protected by a password, so only members have access to it. But you can re-watch the webinars at any point in time. Since everything is recorded, you also get access to all the past webinars. So this is the 4th year the program has been in existence, so you would have access to all of the previous documents and webinars. Something else you get with your yearly fee is up to 5 hours of annual consultation with Alyssa Smith, who is an attorney with the Dorsey & Whitney Law Firm in Des Moines. She helps me sometimes if there's a more complicated question, or it's more likely if I need a second opinion. If somebody has a question about a breach or something, I'll get Alyssa involved. But I'm available all the time to answer questions. I can answer most of the questions that the counties have, so you get unlimited hours with me. So that has not been a problem since I've been hired. I think before, Alyssa was used more because our general counsel handled the program and she just didn't have time to address all the questions. I also have a quarterly newsletter that comes out. I'll address recent breaches, and I'll include information about questions I've gotten from the counties. I think those are the main benefits of the program. Do you have any questions about it?
What's the cost of the program?
So for a new county, it's $19.50, and a returning county, it's $17.50. It's a little bit cheaper for returning counties just because, well, it's more expensive for new counties, I guess I should say, because you get access to all the previous materials. So it's an additional $200.
This is per year?
It's per year. And the program year runs from July 1st to the end of June. And the amount is the same no matter when you join the program. And I guess something I missed about the benefits, we do have one yearly in-person training in April. Because everything is recorded besides that in-person training, the fee is the same no matter when you join, just because you you really don't miss anything. But if you would want to join after April, I usually recommend just waiting till the next program year. And so far that has worked. Counties are okay with that.
On the personal training, is that limited to a number of participants?
The in-person, we limit it to 5 people per county or region. In the past, we've had extra spots, so that hasn't been a problem. A lot of counties will only send 1 person, but we do have one mental health region that likes to send more. So I think he has sent anywhere between 10 to 15 people, and that hasn't been a problem.
Is this training done in Des Moines?
Yep, it's in Des Moines.
Christy, do you have any questions? Okay.
And I'm willing to do anything the counties want. So next week, Cherokee County asked me to come to Cherokee County and kind of give a mini HIPAA 101 presentation to all their department heads. So I love to do county visits. And if there's anything else you want out of the program, I'm more than willing to include it. Because I'm here for you. I want the program to be beneficial for the county.
How many counties are members right now?
The new program year just started, so I'm still getting contracts. Right now we have 12, but usually we have anywhere between 20 to 25.
Any other questions for him?
Right now.
Any questions?
Questions?
I'll let Tammy take over then.
Thank you.
Good morning.
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 As you know, my name is Tammy Norman, and I've worked for ISAC for almost 22 years now. And Bill gave me the opportunity, it's almost been a year now, as of August 1st to take over as the program manager for Precinct Atlas. Now, are you familiar at all with Precinct Atlas? I know Leslie is, but
We have Precinct
Yeah,
Atlas.
yeah.
I kind of, they aren't familiar with the fact though that it's gone from Sarah Border County doing it
Yeah,
to you
so
doing it. And that's
wanting to
kind of what,
update.
kind of wanted to
Perfect.
update them a little bit.
So a little background is that Sarah Gordo County had created this program back in 2008 when first election day registrations began. The reason they went to an e-poll book system and created this was just to help out their poll workers. I think Ken Klein, who was the Sarah Gordo County auditor at that time, realized there needed to be a better way for them. So since 2008, we are now in 2018. We've had 10 years to develop. They've developed the software, and I think when you talk to your poll workers, you will find that they tell you that it's very simple and easy to use on their side of things. What it does, it basically steps them through what used to be a registry book. You know, people would come in and sign the registry book. Well, now what they do is scan their IDs. Because in 2018, voters are required to show their ID. If they don't have their ID, though, they can sign an oath. What happens, though, in 2019 is that ID is required, some form of identification. So what will happen is, if they don't have that ID or do not go home to get one, they would still vote. They could still vote, but it would be provisional. So one of the reasons what's happened is that Sarah Gordo County came to ISAC, the consortium. So what happened, step back just a moment. Sarah Gordo had created it, then they sold it to the consortium. And the consortium actually is now made up of 75 member counties. Your county is one of them. So what you do is you are owners of this program. So you have membership in it and own it. ISAC was brought in just to manage it and support it, to keep the software compliant, to provide training, and to just assist the member counties. I think one of the reasons why Sarah Gordo realized it was growing, it was too hard for them to maintain the program and run their own elections. So they came to the consortium, bought it, and the consortium came to ISAC, and therefore I came here. So that's kind of the background of it. What also has happened is because of the election law changes, we've seen a tremendous growth in membership. It basically almost doubled in the last year or so. So we, I think it was running around between 35 to 40 counties. We're now at 75 and have been approached by some other counties of possibly joining. With that, there was a tremendous learning curve by ISAC to learn this program. We made it through the primary elections, not without some pain by some of the counties, because not only did we have the implosion in new counties coming on board, the auditors and their staff had to also encrypt all their hardware, which, if I'm not sure about Leslie's experience, but some of the
It was rough.
county auditors, that was not an easy process because they didn't all have IT. So the good news is we made it through it. And basically I thought went through it pretty well considering. So what we're doing now is we're preparing for the general election. And so we're getting ready for the November. We have at the Isaaca Summer School this week, actually. We're going to have some time on their agenda to update the members about the program. We will be rolling out the new software October 1st. We will have it ready in September so we can do testing. And then the other thing we're going to be doing at the conference is giving them a manual. That was one of the things I wanted to do for them, is to start creating tutorials and training documents so I can give them the tools to help themselves. So I think, you know, it's like any program when you take it over, there's growing pains and, you know, learning curve. But what we're excited about is, you know, helping support the member counties. And ultimately, as we know, the elections are in the news a lot. And just making sure the auditors have the tools they need to make sure that the process goes as smoothly as possible. I really enjoyed learning a lot about elections. Didn't realize that there's elections about every month. You know, that special elections are held all the time. I pretty much had a perspective of the general public. I kind of went to the polls on the primary and the general, and didn't realize how much is involved in providing these elections to the public. And my eyes have been opened, and I really have enjoyed learning about it. And I'm honored to work for Precinct Atlas and ISAC with this program, because I think it does help the election process tremendously. So the other thing I wanted to mention to you, currently the due structure is $1,500 plus 2 cents a voter, registered voter, for each county member. What we're going to offer and unveil at the meeting this week is that we're also going to offer an extra support. That will be $1,000, so it will be $2,500 versus the $1,500. That will be, and I don't quote me on this, but it's like 15 hours of extra support hours that they will have at their disposal. We also will offer the ability for them to purchase their computers, and we would encrypt them and have them prepared, but that is at $50 a laptop. And all that is to pay for the staff time. We are not in it to make any money. We're just in it enough to support it, to get the IT help, and to make sure that we have enough staff to help. But currently, right now, it's myself as the only full-time employee, and we work with the IT staff at ISAC to help do the programming. Is there questions about the program?
So, as you've been working on this, and you've interacted with these member counties, what are you hearing about any issues that maybe arise regarding the integrity of our elections?
You know, that is one thing that has been very helpful to me working with the counties, is the fact that I feel very, I can sleep at night about the Iowa election process. We have well-trained PEOs. You have excellent auditors. Their election staff does the training every year. There's seat training and they're seat certified. So I feel Very well. I'm surprised at the PEOs, how much they know and how much they take pride in making sure that they are doing the right job for for everyone.
So when you listen to your news, and if you can believe it, they say there's some, and they mention them, there's some states out there that have been hacked, they have issues. How does that happen, and what are we doing different in Iowa to control that so we don't have that issue? I'm curious as to what that corruption is.
Truthfully, I'm not quite sure what causes the other ones. I know what's nice about ours is like the e-poll books. Actually, there is a process in place to make sure those laptops, when they're out at the location, the polling place, they're not connected to the internet, okay? So what happens is that Leslie and her staff will take that information from iVoters, which again is behind password protected, encrypted. They put it on an encrypted flash drive, and what they're doing is they're just taking the voter information, okay? So they're taking the voters. They're taking what would have been out on that registry book onto a flash drive, putting it onto the laptop, okay? So what happens is that is basically, that poll book is just a registry book. So it would be no different if somebody then had stolen that registry book, but actually it's safer because now it's password protected and it's encrypted. So you really truly have to be a hacker, where again, the registry books were always in safe hands too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that would have ever had a problem. But what I mean is there's even extra layers now that it is on an electronic poll book. So that part I don't understand how they could either. And as far as I know with the ballot machines and stuff, because I'm still learning that whole process myself because I'm focused mainly on the poll books, is that again, it's encrypted. Tell me if I'm wrong, Leslie, there is no way for really them to be hacked into as well, is there?
They're not connected to the internet. There's no way for ours to be connected to the internet.
Yeah.
They have to physically be on site to hack it.
Two more questions.
And then they'd have to get through all the seals and all that, and all the workers and all that, you know.
Do all the members basically function the same regarding
For precinct
whatever
outlets
the
and all
protocol
that?
is for running your elections? Do all these members have a coalition kind of around how they
For
function?
the most part,
procedures?
yes. For the
Okay.
most part, yes. There may be some that are little,
Do it just slightly different, but
do it slightly different in how they handle like satellite voting and stuff like that with it. Different how they do absentee voting, things like that with it.
Something,
we
Leslie,
don't. I don't go quite to the extreme some of them do because I am extremely conservative with allowing anything to be out there
Right.
where somebody can get to it. So I don't necessarily go as far as some of them do. My laptops have never, since the day we bought them, been connected to the internet.
How,
And Bill is in the process right now working it out so that for us to do the new securities and all that, we will be wiping them off. Every single laptop, he'll be wiping all my laptops clean before an election and pushing something back out to him through a hardwired thing where we put drops in our office to be able to do like 48 computers at a time
So I know
and do
how
that
hard
so
it
that they
is.
never go on the internet.
right.
I know how hard it has been here
Yeah.
sometimes to get people to work the elections.
It's very hard.
So do you do any kind of vetting of those people? Because I don't recall us ever talking about that.
We do the best we can, but when you don't have enough people, you have to take
Kinda
what you
take what you get.
You know, we have done a lot better lately at getting some newer ones that we don't train everybody on Precinct Atlas. Not everybody gets to be on Precinct Atlas. If you have to have the computer skills to be on Precinct Atlas. But we have other jobs they can do, like having the person fill out the declaration of eligibility, handing out the ballot, watching the machine to make sure they're, you know, if they make sure the person's ballot got through the machine okay once they voted it, that sort of thing. We have other jobs people can do. We make sure we have 2 or 3 people at every precinct who are computer literate on the Precinct Atlas.
The reason I
And they
ask
get-
that-
And they get trained.
Leslie, because the way you, both you ladies describe the operation, sounds like that's about the only way that we could get hacked or be abused or taken advantage of is if by an individual that be working with that equipment.
Correct. Right. But I don't have that concern with any of the individuals we have right now, where they're all pretty well known to us and that sort of thing. We've never had an issue with a worker while they're on the system, because they're sitting right next to somebody else at another computer. I mean, you can see what each other's doing. We have Wi-Fi, and all that is totally disconnected on the computers. So they can't easily just go out to the internet or anything
Sure.
like that. So, and our computers are all encrypted, so even if that laptop was somehow stolen, nobody could. The password we have on our encryption is over 20 characters long, and Bill and I have looked, and it's hard for him to get it typed in right, but we've tried that out on this thing out there that you can go out and check to see if a password, how long it would take to crack a password, and it would take us 9, and I don't know how many years this is because I've never heard of this number, and neither is he, 9 million years to crack our password by a hacker. By a hacker. Yeah. So I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have never seen a problem with Iowa's election system. We have always been considered one of the top election systems in the country. We've always been ahead of the game, and we still are as far as I'm concerned. There are some states out there who are really behind the ball, 8 ball, and those are the states where you have concerns. And those are the states they usually try to hack.
We don't have a cemetery vote like Illinois, right?
Right.
Well,
It'd be kind of hard. They wouldn't have an ID to show us.
That's true.
With a picture ID.
Wouldn't be pretty.
No.
I know, Leslie, you said that have a hard time getting poll workers, but on the same token, there's a substantial amount of the poll workers that they've done it for many
Right.
elections and many
Right.
years.
Right.
So there is a very good competent
There
base
is.
there to work with.
Where our situation is as they leave, getting the newer ones, getting new ones interested. And we're looking at trying to find, that's been a problem statewide. I mean, it's just the younger people haven't been as interested in it, but we're trying to find ways. I've got a couple ideas I'm not prepared to say in public right now, but that I'm working on to see if I can't find a way to entice some more people to come work elections. Maybe, I guess I could say, I might try working with some of the companies to see if maybe they'd give them a day off or something to do things
Something
like
just
that,
popped into my head. Is there an age? What age do you have to be a poll worker?
Technically, you can be in high school, but we've never had much luck with that because they don't like to show up at 6 o'clock in the morning and stay all day and all night. But we try to do it at 18. If it's before 18, then there's all this paperwork you have to do with the schools and everything to get permission, and then in the end they don't show up. So it's a little bit of a problem. So I haven't gone that route much. But we do at 18 start. So we do sometimes get some community college ones. Again, sometimes they're not the most reliable, but once in a while you get a good one. So that'll stick with you. But what we really like is somebody who's going to be here for a while if we can.
Right.
Who wants to do this, not going to just be here for a year or two and then be off to another college or something like that. So. Because there's a lot of training involved, especially with the precinct atlas, and you just get somebody all trained and comfortable with it, and then they leave,
Sure.
So, but we're working on it. That's the hardest part, is getting the poll workers.
Okay, very good. Very good. Anything else?
Well, nope, I just want to thank you for being a member county, and thank you for inviting us over here. We love Muscatine. It's a beautiful town.
Hang out today a little bit, you'll have fun.
Yeah, we'll have to drive around a little bit, but thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see with that. Keith, do you have anything that you'd like to address? Okay, very good. If there's nothing else further to come before the board, meeting's adjourned.